If you've ever been camping or hiking with a group, you can always see who people really are. We usually see some things that they're good at and how they act when they're worn out. And you usually have, like the fire guy. It's the dude who always knows how to start a fire. And maybe you have the cook, the person who can tell you how to cook a steak to perfection. Then you have a person who suggests one crazy idea after another. And you have a safety person who always follows the rules and complains about that crazy person's ideas. Then there's a person who always seems to know everything about nature and teaching everyone else the different kinds of trees and plants and animals all around them. What makes those camping trips so amazing is everyone using their gifts and passions to help the group as a whole. This is exactly what God wants to do in the church. In fact, Paul talks about this in detail in 1 Corinthians 12. This passage talks about how a group of Christians who gather is like a human body. There are all different kinds of parts the body has that serves different functions, and so it's the same way with the church. You have a gift, and it's not just for you. It's to encourage another Christian in their faith. As each person brings their gift to the group, the whole benefits. Each of us using our gifts for the other to benefit is an expression of love. That's why the very next chapter in 1 Corinthians is chapter 13, and it's all about love. How are you using your gifts to serve others? You might have extra time to lend a hand or an administrative skill, or you might be really friendly, or you might like teaching others about the Bible, or you might like meeting care needs. Maybe you have multiple gifts. Either way, you have a gift and God wants to use it to bless others. So here's a challenge. Let me encourage you to think about the things that come easy to you. What are the things others tell you that you're good at? Write those things down and then ask God, how can I use this to bless someone else? And talk about those opportunities that align with your gifting. And then start serving and watch God use you. Not only does God want to share our talents with others, but God calls us to share our financial resources with others. The first Christians did this from the beginning. It says this in Acts. And all the believers met together in one place and shared everything they had. They sold their property and possessions and shared the money with those in need. Acts 2:44 and 45. Now that's generosity. Here's what's even more amazing. These people had not been believers very long, and yet they were so generous. And here's why they could be so generous with their money. It's because they knew how generous God had been to them first. Now let's say you're having a good day, like a really good day, and you gave me your house and it just happened to be on the beach and it's also paid off, and then you gave me your car to go with it. It must have been a really, really good day for you, right? But a month later, you're not having a good day and you've come on some hard times and you need a couple $100. And if you ask me for some money, what do you think I'm going to say? Of course. What's a couple $100 compared to what you've already given me? Here's something to remember. An understanding of what we've been given will produce generosity in your lives. Why? Because that understanding transforms the heart. This is why we can give a tithe, 10% of our income. Maybe you heard this term tithe before. This was a standard for the people of God in the Old Testament and has been the norm for the church through the centuries. It was an act of obedience out of love and gratitude. Now, that 10% might scare you. Don't let it. Instead, let me encourage you to start with this. Start with being generous with your time, your gifts, your energy, and then your financial resources, and watch God bless you in return. And don't let the number or percentage stop you. Start where you can now. And watch as God shows you new ways to generously bless those around you. I'll finish this video with this from the Bible, 2 Corinthians 9:16. Remember this, a farmer who plants only a few seeds will get a small crop, but the one who plants generously will get a generous crop. Using a farming illustration, Paul talks about giving. If you give generously, God will see that generosity and bless it in proportion to the sacrifice. Look what verse 10 from the same chapter says. For God is the one who provides seed for the farmer and then bread to eat. In the same way, he'll provide and increase your resources and then produce a great harvest of generosity in you. 2 Corinthians 9:10. Now, sometimes that blessing is financial. Many times it's not, though. Either way, you can know this. You can't outgive God, and your needs will always be met as you're generous to others. This is the reality of being generous. It's what God does. You're never too broke to be generous. So this week, try it. Give something. Let it stretch your faith. Be on the lookout for what God is doing to bless others on your journey and share it. In our next video, we'll talk about inviting others with you on your journey, so be sure to check it out.